Hello students, welcome to this online course of engineering mechanics. So today we are going to start our new and the last unit, that is simple stresses and strains. So if like most of the cell engineering cases we will having the external loading. So how this external loading is going to affect our structure, that we will see in terms of stress. Stress is the resistance per unit area, and it is having the unit of pressure same as pressure, but pressure is a scalar quantity, whereas the stress is a tensor quantity. Okay, so pressure will always be external and stress will always be internal. So let us see this unit. So external forces acting on individual structure or machine member of an engineering design are common. So in many of the structures there will be external loading. So an engineer always endeavors to have such design that are safe, durable and economical. So as an engineer, it is our duty to provide a safe, durable and economical design which will fulfill our needs. Thus, load carrying capacity of the member being designed is of paramount importance to know their dimensions to minimize the cost. So how we are going to design the structures? We will check the stresses, and depending on the stresses we will design our members so that the member will withstand the stresses generated due to external loading. The force acting on a body is termed as load. The external force in commonly we are terming as it as load. Now if a structure as a whole is in equilibrium, its members are also in equilibrium. So if a composite structure is there, if it is said that the composite structure is in equilibrium, that means the individual portions of that structure will remain in equilibrium. That implies that the resultant of all the forces acting on a member must be zero. This we have seen in our first unit itself. However, the forces acting on a body tend to deform or tear the body. Now let us see what, like, this force is there. So what if we want to see what this force is trying to do? This force is trying to tear this body from here somewhere at any section, and this body is trying to deform, it is trying to compress. Okay, so depending upon the direction of the loading we can analyze the structure, or we can say we can judge the action of that force to the body. Now a tensile force tend to increase the length and decrease the cross section of the body. You can see here that this is the body and this load is tensile load, because due to this load any fiber, if you are going to check, it will be in tension. Okay, so what it is going to do, it will extend the length. You can see the original length was L0 and the final length is increased by this amount, but this increase in length is at the cost of decrease in area. Okay, you can see initial area was A0, now final area is A dash. So A0 will be greater than A dash. So this will compensate each other. Okay, and in similar way, a force tending to push or compress a body is known as compression, or compressive force which tend to shorten the length. So compressive force will shorten the length and tensile force will expansion will be there due to tensile force. Usually the forces acting on a body along the longitudinal axis are known as direct or axial force. Okay, if the direction of the load is along the length of that member, then it will be termed as axial force, and the force acting normal to the longitudinal axis of the body is known as transverse or shear. So let us see. So here you can see this force is along this axis. So this is longitudinal axis, so this is axial. Now this force Q is parallel to the cross section. This is the cross section and this is Q. So this will be termed as transverse or shear. Okay, shear force. Why this is known as shear force? Because if this is Q at any section, if we want to see what is going to happen to maintain equilibrium? Here also Q will be acting, and this will try to shear this. That's why this term shear has come. Now let us see what is stress. The applied external force on a body are transmitted to the support through the material of the body. That is fine. This phenomenon tends to deform the body and cause it to develop equal and opposite internal forces. Okay, so you can see from here, this force is here, and if you are checking this cross section, so equal and opposite forces will be generated. Okay, so this force per unit cross section area will be termed as stress, P by A. Okay, so this is your stress. So these external forces, by virtue of cohesion, cohesion between particles of the material tend to resist the deformation, and the magnitude of the internal resisting forces is equal to the applied forces, but the direction is in opposite direction. Okay, the resisting force per unit area of the surface is known as intensity of stress, or simply stress, and is denoted by sigma. Clear? So let me just tell you once more. So this was the load. Now we want to see the action of this load at this cross section XX. What we have done, we have parted from this XX, so this side and this side. So this was P. So by equilibrium condition, P force will be generated here. So this force per unit area, if this is area, cross section area is A, so this P by A will be termed as stress. Stress is internal resistance per unit area. Clear? And it's denoted by sigma. This is the denotation of the stress. Thus, if the load is assumed as uniformly distributed over the sectional area A, then the stress sigma is given by P by A. So if this is the averaged, but if the intensity of the stress is not uniform throughout the body, then the stress at any point is defined as dP by dA. Okay, this will be the ratio of pressure to force with respect to area. The stress may be tensile, compressive. This will depend on the nature of the force applied. If force is tensile, the stress will be tensile. If force is compressive, then the stress will also be compressive. What are the units of the stress? The unit is Pascal, that is Newton per meter square. So it will be Newton per square or Pascal. So there are various units. So 1 Pascal is 1 Newton per meter square, but usually we will use megapascal, 1 MPa. So 1 MPa is 10⁶ Newton per meter square, or 1 Newton per mm square, and 1 GPa is gigapascal. These are the various conversions. Okay, so in the next lecture we will see about this shear stress. So this is all for today. Thank you.